My name is Rod Cullen. I'm a Senior Lecturer in Learning and Teaching Technologies. I work in the Learning Innovations team, which is part of Learning and Research Technologies. Most of the time when we're giving feedback, we think of written feedback, so either annotating student documents or completing written feedback pro formas or perhaps even rubrics. In some of my teaching, the work that I'm asking students to do has a visual component to it, so I'm often involved in aspects of learning and teaching design, and I get people to draw pictures, to map out their work. In terms of giving them feedback, it's actually difficult to write that because it's difficult in a written word to articulate sort of the kind of patterns or observations that you're looking for. I discovered a piece of video screen capture technology. Originally it was a tool called Camtasia, but there are lots of them available now, and there's a tool called BB Flashback which is available on the MMU standard platform. And that simply allows you to take a video of whatever you're doing on your computer screen and talk about it at the same time. So essentially what I started to do about 4 or 5 years ago, when these technologies first started to become easily available, was to get the students to submit their work in electronic format, display it on the screen, and then I would make a video screen capture of me working through their assignment or moving through their assignment and talking about the strengths and weaknesses of their work. I think the first thing that I would probably say is that what I'm not advocating here is replacing written feedback with audio-video feedback. I think audio-video feedback lends itself to particular types of assessed tasks. So one of the key benefits for me is actually having an extra set of tools to draw on, if you like, to be able to provide feedback which is most appropriate to a particular type of assessment. So that's a key thing. The other thing is, we're sitting here talking to you on a video. Why have we chosen to do that? Well, it's engaging, or hopefully it's engaging anyway. I can do certain things with audio that help me to make a connection with my students. So, for example, I can start it by just saying, "Hi, John, it's Rod here with some feedback on your assignment," and straight away that sort of changes the nature of the feedback. It helps to make a connection, and that's certainly something that, in talking to my students, they've told me that this feels like it's very personal. One of the things that we know about feedback is that the more of a connection that you make, the more likely students are to engage with it. For me, there are two elements. It's an extension of the toolkit that I already have, but also it allows me to make an attempt to make a personal connection that hopefully results in ongoing dialogue with my students. As with all methods of feedback, a key sort of tip would be to design it into your assessment strategy. There are particular issues that you need to take into consideration, and a good way of sort of dealing with that is to plan, as with all things. So think through your assessment strategy and include within your assessment strategy a feedback strategy, and work out which is the most appropriate technique for the kind of assessment that you're doing before you even start. Secondly, develop yourself a system for it. So my plan, for example, includes that I'll get all of my students to submit their work via the VLE, even if it's formative work. And the reason that I do that is because the VLE provides a nice easy mechanism for me to send it back to everybody on an individual basis. The other thing that I found particularly useful, because the work is coming in electronic format, in most instances with my assessment work, it comes in Word format. So what I tend to do is I'll download a piece of work, and while I'm reading it, I use track changes and the comments tools in Microsoft Word to add very, very brief comments, and work through the document making sort of small annotations. Don't go into a great deal of detail, and I can do that very, very quickly. What that actually provides me with is a script. So when I'm ready to record the audio feedback, I then work through each of the comments and I go into greater detail about why do I think this is vague, and more importantly, how would you go about improving it? How would you go about making it more specific and more relevant? It serves two purposes. It makes it easier for me because I'm not trying to remember what it is that I want to talk about as much. But also, it's a really useful cross-reference for the students so they can listen to audio feedback, for example, and they're aware very, very quickly of which part of their work I'm talking about. With the video screen capture feedback, it also acts as a reference point because the students not only have the screen capture, but I can send them back the annotated copy of the Word document as well, which gives them something extra to work with. So that's my top tip. Plan ahead, or top two tips: plan ahead and produce yourself a script by working through the document and annotating it.
Audio feedback for me has been, it's something I'd never come across before or even thought of until Rod gave me my first piece on the Masters in Academic Practice. Up until that point, feedback, because I'm late back into academia, and feedback for me was a very negative experience up until the audio feedback. All the feedback you got was what you'd done wrong. There was very little saying, this is a good piece of work, or it didn't encourage you. Whereas when I had the audio feedback, I felt that it was totally personal to me. Rod was talking to me. I could play it at any time. I went back and listened to it at least 2 or 3 times, and I found it a very positive experience. I'm already using it with my own students through Turnitin and the audio link. They all love it, and it's really quick and efficient, and it's a positive experience.
If you would like to take part in the Good Practice Exchange, you can go to celt.mmu.ac.uk/goodpractice/contribute and tell us about your project or idea.